Okay, today we have an amazing how she built this with one of our members, Stella Quach. Stella is from a Black Brick Home Staging and is a real estate stager. So I thought today it would be amazing to ask Stella some really in-depth questions, all the things that you really want to know. We're going to take you backstage of her business and just see how she's built it, what's actually coming up. And so welcome, Stella. Thank you so much for saying yes to being interviewed by me today. It's so good. So
Thanks for
thank you.
having me. Thank you for
You're
having me.
so welcome. I thought we might just kick off by, you just mentioned before that you're been relatively or very busy. Can you just give us an update on the market at the moment? What are you seeing happening in the market? What's happening with you for real estate styling right now?
Yeah, so we have had our biggest season, I would say. Spring has been absolutely insane. We have spoken to other stylists as well who have mentioned, we're all doing the same thing. We're just buying up stock wherever we can just to keep up with the demand, basically.
Yeah. How
Um,
do you keep it all? Like, where do you store it all?
we have a warehouse down in Thomastown, so it's 500 square meters, whichever it goes.
Yeah, square
It's a
meters.
square meters, I think.
Yeah.
It's a big warehouse. That's where we keep it. But at the moment, it's pretty empty. We're just waiting. Basically, we've got a lot of pack ups coming up, so it's going to fill up very quickly, very
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
been
so what's the
crazy.
market's really busy. And
Yeah,
why do you
so
think that is?
So the market has been busy. I'm going to say has because it is slowing down now. But I do think that when I've spoken to agents, during the year, they have mentioned that it has been a little bit slower than expected, possibly compared to the previous years before that, post COVID. Um, and I think everyone's just been holding up until spring. So they were kind of just sitting in the background waiting to see what happens with interest rates and property prices. And then come springtime, they're ready. They're saying, this is our last chance to get it out this year before Christmas. Let's just go for it. And that's what's happened.
Yeah. And are those properties selling? So are they actually? Yeah, they are. So,
they're selling. I would say they're definitely based on its character. So homes are selling. Units, I would say, are taking a lot longer to sell than we have experienced in the past, earlier in the year or even last year. So units and apartments taking a little bit longer than usual. Houses are definitely selling.
okay. And why do you
Yeah.
think that is?
Um, I from I think it's to do with, the type of people that are selling and the type of people that are looking. So, units and apartments generally are purchased by investors. They're the people that are usually buying these units and apartments. And with interest rates the way they are, some would say that it's not a smart time to buy, depending on,
Okay.
their financial situation. Whereas homes are although homes, some people do buy for investment, but I would say most of them are, purchasing to live, and there's a bit of more of an emotional connection, an
Yeah.
emotional purchase for that. So
Okay.
homes, yeah.
Um, yeah, and I wonder, I saw on the news the other day too that baby boomers are like they're moving out of their big properties. So more homes are going on the market. And they're moving into these resort style apartment blocks. Do you see that happening? Like, are the older couples selling their properties?
Um, I've heard a couple of, okay, it's really interesting you brought that up because in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I have been down more in the east. So we have an agency we work with down there, the Wanturna Bayswater area, and they've been in their houses for 30, 40 plus years. So,
Yeah.
yes, older couples who are downsizing. And I think three of them in the last month or so said they're moving up to Queensland. They're
Wow.
done here and they're moving on. So I
Okay.
haven't particularly heard that they're downsizing to an apartment or anything like that, but definitely to Queensland.
Okay. Sea change, maybe you'd call
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me, how did you, what's your background? How did you get into property styling?
Very later in life, which I think a lot of us can relate to with
Too.
the interior designer. Um, I was an operations manager, so I was in corporate. That's what I did coming out of school, and I had my first child. He's now 10, so 10 years ago, and I didn't go back to work since then.
Yeah.
And so I was a stay-at-home mum for about, well, my youngest daughter is 4 now, so I would say that's how long I was a stay-at-home mum. So six
6 years.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was ready. I was looking for something to do when my middle child was born, but it wasn't until COVID happened, and we kind of um, started thinking about this idea of what to do in my next stage of life.
Yes. As we
Um,
do.
and I did study interior decorating, so I got my cert for from the design school, um, and I completed that while I was pregnant with my youngest daughter.
Yeah. And is it
And
because you had this passion for interiors? Like, was it something this creative, or was it more for employment reasons? Why did you do that?
look, I've always loved real estate, and I'm sure all of us we can all relate to this, but I never realized how moving my furniture every single week was like a trait that we all kind of have.
Yeah.
So I've always loved real estate. My dad and I used to go and visit auctions like every weekend. That was just a thing we did. We just loved it. We love seeing how prices, fluctuate during the years. And I guess that's just something that I've always been very interested in. And, when growing up, I kind of lost that vision. And it wasn't
Yeah.
until I decided I wanted to go back to study. I decided I think interior design is where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why. And then my husband has always been in business. So he's got that business knowledge on he's done a few startups, and he's been in, hospitality as well. So
He's got that
we
entrepreneurial sort of streak in him.
yes, yeah. So I've never been a business owner, but I have always been in the world of business because I'm surrounded by it.
Yes.
But yeah, he was kind of, ready to kind of move on from his what he was doing, and he thought the next step would be for us to do this.
Wow. So
Yeah,
big step and big jump to get into. Tell me about the early stages. How did you start? What were you thinking? Did you
look,
did you build your stock first? What did you do first?
yeah. So Um, it's good that I mentioned my husband earlier, because the way he works is this: if we're going to do this, we're going 100%. There is no creeping up to build anything. We are
All in.
investing, we are all in, and it has to work basically.
Yeah. Which
um,
is which is sort of good because you
yeah.
put some skin in the game, don't you?
That's it. Yeah. You put your heart and soul into everything you do, instead of, oh, let's just try this, instead of, let's see how it goes. It's like, we have to do this. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, so our goal, so we created a small goal for us to begin with. We said we'd get the warehouse, we'd have inventory for up to 5 houses. Once we've got that up and running, then we'll start calling our networks, contacting agents, trying to find those leads.
Yeah.
And
Did you
that's
have
what we
any
did.
leads before you set up?
No, we
No,
had none,
no
but
leads. What
we
made you
have
think that you could do it?
me. I am all in with my husband. Let's just say he's got this experience, but not only that, but he's had connections in the property we've done property development before.
Right.
So he has connections to some agents, you know.
Okay.
When I say some, let's just say like 3. We've got,
Yep.
but then we've never spoken to them about this before. So we didn't know, are they working with existing stylists, or are they, we had absolutely no idea. So why did we think we could do it? I think because people are always going to sell houses. And although I believed I could do it, and I believed, you know, I believe I had taste,
Yeah.
let's just say.
Good. Yes.
Well, whether or not people would believe in my taste, I had zero confidence. My husband would say, "What's the problem? Let's just do it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, let's just do it and see where it goes."
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened.
And how did you know what to charge to start with?
So, what to charge is a constant question every single time for us. And
Yeah.
how do we know what to charge? If I completely put it simply, we Googled a few property stylists around Melbourne.
Yep.
Some would have their prices up on their website, some didn't. And we just kind of created like a spreadsheet of what prices we found on the website and just went from there. And then we were lucky enough with, so as I mentioned, we had 3 connections of agents that we knew.
Yep.
When we told them we were ready, they took us on. We're very lucky in that those agents just took us on. But we were also very lucky because that's when COVID opened up. Stylists were completely slammed. We became a backup most of the time because we were a business that were ready to go. We had stock ready to go, and
Right.
they
So in
needed.
some ways, COVID was good for your business.
Yep, yep. We became a backup and we became available. This one agent that pretty much set us up for success, basically. He was only using us at that time period because his other stylist was so packed and he needed things done quickly.
Yeah. So during that COVID period, houses were still selling, weren't they? They still had to be staged.
So we weren't open during COVID. We started when COVID, when houses could open up again.
Right.
Houses were
Okay.
still selling, but people weren't allowed in the home. So they were being sold virtually.
Oh, that's
But there
right.
was this one period in September where you were allowed to enter their houses anymore. But there was about a month or 2 where it was still questioned, like, are we allowed to
I
do
do
this or
remember that
not?
actually because I was still doing property styling at that stage. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
all of the stylists going, we were ringing each other, are we allowed in the house or aren't we? Are
Yes.
we exempt or aren't we? I just remember, and we were just like, oh, let's just play dumb and go in the houses. And,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we ended up doing that as well because we made the calls. We actually called the department and no one had an answer for us because we
No.
were like, so we just left it to the vendor. We said, if you're happy for us to come in, we will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, Kylie, that was a really, I look back at that time and I think how crazy it was because we were a business trying to build our stock. Okay. So we were trying to build stock levels of up to 5 houses and
Yeah.
no shops were open. Just remember that. Everything was bought online. And I remember I had to buy cushions. We all need cushions in these styled houses. And
Yes.
the best way to buy cushions is in person. You just have to. You have to feel it. You have to see it.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
Went to Adairs. They were open, but they were only open for click collect.
Oh,
And
yes.
you could come to the store and have a look. So I was standing at the door saying, can you bring me that? And I'd look at it and they'd pack it in a bag. That's how I shopped. Um, and 5 houses went away for us in 2 weeks. We finished 5 houses at that point.
Wow.
So we had to
That's a big stock investment too, because I know when I was looking at it, I always used a third party.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
know a lot of people do use third parties, but I think that's almost become really hard to make money using the third party these days.
yeah.
But building your stock, it's such a big investment because you've
It is.
got to keep that in pristine condition.
Yep.
and you've got to be able to get it in and out. Like you have to have your own trucks, I'm assuming, your own removalists, like packing, unpacking,
Yes.
storing it so it doesn't get damaged or dirty or dusty.
Yes. All the
Uh,
above.
yeah, it's a huge, huge job. So how do you handle that? Like, and how
So
many houses have you got stock for now? So you started with 5.
25 to 30. So we can do 25 to 30 houses now. Yeah.
And would you have 25 to 30 houses out at any one time?
We have 25. There was a stage during this spring, we had 28 houses out.
Wow.
So
That
that
is
was the,
phenomenal, Stella. Like in the
yeah.
numbers of property styling and stylists that I speak to, having 28 homes of stock, but also
Mm,
having that stock out is
yeah.
huge. Now, there has to be some success formula there. There has to be something that you're doing that's right.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't think that it's just on pricing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the secret to that success, do you think?
Look, when we started this business, we always said we're going to be accommodating to agents. There can't be too many rules. When we staged our house back then, there were so many rules, Kylie. Staging
Like,
has
give
to be
me
done.
example.
Yep. So staging has to be done on this day. If you change your mind within 3 days, we have to charge you $500 rescheduling fee. Um, we have to pick up your furniture on this particular day. If we can't pick it up on that day, we have to charge a fee. Like there were just so many restrictions to vendors that it became another, selling a house is an overwhelming experience. And vendors say this to me all the time. They look at me and they're like, I just can't wait for this to be over. There's just
Hmm.
so much to it. So we've always said that we have to be the one that's accommodating it. And to do that, everything has to be in-house. So we have full control of everything that can go out. Um, we ha- the first thing we bought was a truck. So that was part of our it's actually a funny story with the truck because we were going to rent a truck in the first place. And then when we heard that stylists were so busy, that trucks were being, because of that boom time after COVID, that
Yeah.
trucks were even difficult to find. We're like, we have to buy this truck. If we're going to be able to offer that flexibility, we have to have that truck. So they were the main points. The truck had to be there so that we have full control and offer flexibility. The warehouse full of stock, that's something we just have to provide. If we want to offer that flexibility, we have to own our stuff, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and yeah, just I think I don't know if this is the formula for success, but our agents know that if they need an extra week just to get this buyer across, we will give them an extra week.
And you won't charge them. You'll just
No
give them the
question.
extra week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you find
even, yeah,
they abuse that at all, at ever, or do you just,
I'm going to say no most of the time.
yeah,
The ones that have, we we push it back.
yeah,
We push it back, and they know that we always play fair. So
yeah,
those agents that have abused it, we no longer give those what privileges, I guess, and they
yes,
don't know. I just say that we're no longer suitable for each other anymore. Like our business processes does not suit what you want
yeah,
anymore. So there's no reason why we need to work together. And that's happened. Yeah.
yeah. And would you say, because I was leading it this way, that it's definitely like I feel like property styling to sell is all about relationship building, and just by what you've
Yes.
said, you've just basically confirmed that it is about the trust and the
100%.
relationship you build with the agent and the vendor at the end of the day, isn't it? Because it's such an intimate experience.
Yes, it is. We are at in their homes, and we've gone to properties where we're ready to stage and they're still cleaning up, and we'll get in and we'll say, let me help you, because our timing is really important as well. And the quicker
Yeah.
we get into this, the quicker we can get it done for them too. And
Yeah.
they're happy for us to help. I always ask them, are you happy for me to touch your belongings and just find a spot for them? Just
Yeah.
find whatever. And they're like, yes, go for it. So
Yeah.
it
So
is.
you're really warming them and making them feel comfortable very quickly. And your agents probably love that as well.
Yes. So that's what I believe we're, like you said, it's a very intimate process, and we want to make them trust us that we're
Yes.
in this for your benefit as well. We want to look after you.
Yeah.
And agents have used us in the past to kind of be part of the selling process as well. So I have gone to houses where the agents have not listed them yet. And, I've gone in as a sales pitch to tell them what we could do with the house. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So that whole relationship building is so key for ongoing business, I'm gathering. Do you ever feel like it's out of your control? Like there are so many competitors, and it's so price driven.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what's your feeling with that, the whole industry? Is it still very price driven?
There are definitely price-driven clients out there, and there are also very price-driven agents out there. There is enough for everyone. I'm going to say that there's so many properties and agents for everyone so I might be going off a tangent, but
No, I think that's
there is a
good.
lot of chatter about, price matching and price comparing, but I think it is a tough industry where you do always have to compete with price,
Yes.
100%. At the end of the day, for us, it's what that agent needs. Our agents know what our pricing guide is, but if they come to us and say this guy has a budget of X amount, can you do it? We're not doing it because of the vendor is, doesn't want to pay for our value and things like that. We're doing it
Mm.
because the agent's like, Stella, I really need this house. And like I mentioned before, it's it's not so much about, yeah, it's just adding that value and that relationship and that trust with the agent. If they
Yes, it's
start to
building it.
abuse it,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they start to abuse it, yeah, it's like back to
Yeah.
what I said
Yeah, that's
before.
actually really amazing because I'm sure that, like you said before, there'll be so many rules with other property stylists. If you do this, if you're one day over, then you're going to pay an extra week or an extra 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
I think to be relieved of that pressure from a vendor and an agent would be amazing.
yeah,
Particularly if they're they've got someone on the cusp of buying it. It really makes a
yes,
difference, doesn't it, for
a
them to get it
hundred
over the
percent.
line? Yeah.
And the agents talk to us all the time. Like, Stella, I've got like this one buyer, they're really close. I just want to bring them in one more time. And
Yeah.
sometimes they don't even have to have that conversation with us, it's kind of expected because they come to me when the house is ready to be packed up. If they don't
Mm.
come to me, I can expect that something's still brewing. So I don't
Yes.
need to keep on their tail. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's in your interest, I'm gathering, to sell the house. Like you want the house sold
100%.
as well.
Yeah.
Like we all
Yeah.
want results, don't we? So whatever
And
we need to do to get those results.
I've met these vendors, they're lovely people. They're not
Yeah.
out to trick us or anything like that, which is, something that I learned along the way as well. So they're not trying to trick us. They just really want to sell their house.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you're right. At the end of the day, you want it to sell, the agent wants it to sell, and the vendor wants it to sell. Like
Yeah.
we're all got the same end game, haven't we? It's
Yeah.
just how we
That's
get there.
exactly. Yeah.
So when you started and you invested in the 5 homes and you invested in the truck,
And
did
the
you have
warehouse.
the warehouse? Sorry, yeah, as well. Like that's a big investment. Like I'm thinking like at least what, $1 million,
Oh no. No, no.
500,000.
Our startup was
Okay,
150,000. Yeah.
that's pretty good. Yep.
So
And
yeah.
how much stock do you reckon you hold now in terms of dollar value? Just
Uh,
roundabout.
So we bought up a lot of stock this spring.
Where
So we're
did you
up to
buy it from? When you say you bought it, where do you buy it from?
all our local places that we go to. So
Okay.
Globe West sometimes, Globe West I buy, it is more of a high price point for us. So we do stick to budgets, obviously, every time we buy something. But statement pieces from Globe West is always a go-to. We buy from Lounge Lovers, Interior Secrets, just anywhere. And we've got wholesale supplies as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm just constantly shopping.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so obviously, do you stock take? Like, what is your stock holding in dollars now? Are you prepared to say that? You don't have to say that if you
Yeah.
don't want to.
No, it's fine. We've got about 400,000 worth of stock
Okay.
now.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. And if someone was to say to you, what is your look like? What is your style that you're styling with? What would you say? How do you go about styling the house? What look are
Yeah.
you trying to project?
We definitely hold modern and contemporary furniture. So everything is quite now classic, clean. That's my
Yeah.
look. Yeah.
Yeah, classic and clean. And you
Yeah.
find that that suits most houses that you go into too, I'm imagining.
Yeah, it's very neutral. So a lot of our sofas are very light in color. I don't do as much as I'd love to. I don't do the bold, velvet greens or the navy blues. I don't do any of that just because I feel like the everyone wants a neutral white couch. They can never have the neutral white couch, and it just looks so beautiful on
It's so
camera.
true, isn't it? You can't
Yeah,
have it because it's not practical, but you can have it during a sales campaign.
that's it. So yeah, that's I think it does suit most places. And again, it also goes down to what type of houses we are staging as well. Um, we never want to, be staging those multi-million dollar houses. I think the highest we've ever staged was a $3 million house. Um, and they have their own beautiful pieces that we just had to add on to. But
Yeah.
our average house is about a million and a half.
Okay.
And
So it's pretty the standard everyday home that you're staging.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And we
what's
know that we're not suited to style any houses that are, worth more than that. So I think for us, it's really important just to stay in our lane.
yes, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's great to know that as well, isn't it? Like
Mm.
you actually understand that and know because yeah, what it makes it so much easier to market yourselves, I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what suburbs do you predominantly work in?
So the northern suburbs, so we've got a lot of our connection in the northern suburbs, anywhere from Ivanhoe all the way down to Mernda.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then I've got a agency down in Bayswater and Wantirna that I work with quite a fair bit as well.
Yeah.
And we've got agents that use us sporadically, not all the time as well. So they keep us in their pockets when they're looking for some sort of contemporary modern styling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we work everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? And tell me, one truck still now? Do you still
One
have
truck.
one truck? Great.
Yep.
What does your husband do in the business?
Yep. So I would say he's the financial guy. He
Yeah.
tells me how much I can spend to basically, purchase stock. He
Yeah.
also is the logistics guy. So he'll he's a removalist and he packs the truck and, schedules all our pack ups and where we're going around Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What a big job. So is it just the two of you in the business or you've got contractors?
Yeah, so we've got one other removalist. So we've got a really small team, and everything is in house, like I said. So they are we don't ever outsource basically. And I've got one primary stylist and I've got two secondary stylists. So our primary stylist works with us most days, and the secondary stylist comes in whenever we have a bigger job or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. And tell me a little bit about the branding. When did you start branding? And I know you've done a photo shoot recently.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that all looks so amazing. But tell me, did you start off with the branding? Did you invest later in that? Has it evolved? Where's that come?
Well, I wish it was of a I wish it was like a really pretty story, but it really isn't. I have a friend who does branding.
Yeah.
And I just said to her, and I've gone to her a lot of times, as you said, us creatives always have lots of ideas. So she's
Yes.
like, "What is it this time?" I said,
Yeah.
"No, no, no. This is a serious one."
Yeah.
I said, "We're going to start property styling. I need it to be modern." So she created our logo, she created our tagline, our abbreviation, everything. And that's all we started with. There was no story behind the name, except that
Yeah.
I wanted it to be. The story behind the name is in my brain. We needed it to be solid. We needed it to be masculine and modern. The
Yeah.
reason for that, I have no qualification in marketing, but I feel that because a lot of the agents are male, we kind of want to keep it quite neutral.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stylists, I guess, that keep the very, um, you
Feminine
know,
side, isn't it?
feminine names like, I don't know, actually, I don't know, beautiful styling or dazzling style. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
very descriptive words. And I just wanted it to be very modern.
Yeah. That's
Um,
smart, actually. Really smart. Yeah. I
yeah,
love the
so
branding. And what was the idea behind the photo shoot? Like, what made you, the photo shoot being like the video, the B rolls that you got, like showing you in action and
yeah. Yeah, so that just came out of base. Actually, Kylie, you always say to us that we've got to look professional. The days of just popping up a Canva logo is probably not cutting it anymore if you want to be taken seriously. But yeah, I the only thing missing with our business, and I still find it a challenge, is I'm the one behind the camera. I take all the photos. But I'm actually the face of the brand as well, but I'm never in front of the photo because I'm the one taking it.
yes, so true.
So that's mainly the reason why. And it is a challenge with that getting footage and content of me styling because I have to outsource that.
I'm just getting
We've
a photo of you.
tried we've tried to get my husband taking the videos. It's just doesn't work out
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
not my vision. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind that. And I've got the problem with me is that I'm too much a perfectionist to post on Instagram, so all my photos have to be perfect to end up there, and that is a problem in itself because then I
Yes.
don't
You
end
might
up.
need to outsource that as
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
busier because yeah. And which leads me to the question, where do you get your leads from? So you just got your current agents.
Yep.
Do you try and get more agents? Does anything come through Instagram? How does it happen?
A lot of it we get a lot of cold leads from the website, and I say cold because, from our experience, they just want us to price compare, if I'm completely
Yes.
honest.
Tire kickers sometimes.
90% of our leads do come from our agents.
Yeah.
So that's where I focus a lot of my energy on, obviously trying to harness that relationship and
And how do you
um,
do that? What's some actual tangible things that you do to harness that relationship? Like you obviously keep contact regularly.
yeah, but it's what I mentioned before. It's listening to their situations and giving them the flexibility to listen what they need and how we can accommodate that. I think that's the best way. I actually don't contact them regularly. I just think, we're already talking to each other every now and then about properties. I don't do the coffee catch-ups. I just feel like, we're all time poor.
We were just
um,
saying that, weren't we?
yeah, so I mean, obviously at Christmas I do um, wish them a Merry Christmas and all of that. I do connect with them in that way. And it's those meetings at the houses or it's the calls in those houses that I keep those connections and say, how's your weekend? Just really casual friend to friend chat. There's nothing
Yes.
really.
It's just genuine, authentic chatting
Yeah,
and listening. And like you said, listening is so important,
yeah,
isn't it? To actually
that's it.
listen rather than always be the one that's actually talking, I guess, is so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
And I've always said we want to accommodate whatever suits them. So whatever the agents need, we kind of, within reason, obviously, and they understand that too, we accommodate what they need. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you see happening for the real estate market in 2024? Have you got any predictions?
It's a really interesting one. After having such a huge spring, I don't know. I really I can say that I felt that the spring was going to be quite busy this time around, and it was. For next year, I somehow feel like it's going to be a quieter year, even more so, just because of how crazy spring was, and
Mm,
everyone's just trying to calm down for it. But when we say obviously going to be uncertainty as well, as we still don't know what's happening with interest rates and things like that.
mm,
But yeah, I really don't know, Kylie. I
no,
can't tell
yeah.
you.
And does the campaign go longer these days, like through spring,
Yeah.
right up till Christmas and through Christmas now? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
So within the last 2 weeks of November, we generally say, look, you can keep this until we open next year. If it So there's kind of two schedules that the agents are working towards. They're trying to really push to try and sell the house before Christmas.
mm,
That's the goal. But there are some that are like, this might take a lot longer, so we might need it until the end of February. So some of them are even saying the end of February is where they need it till.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And when do you normally go back? Around the 15th or Australia Day? What?
No, we only close for 2 weeks. So
Wow.
before Christmas, and then we open up, I think it's the 8th of Jan.
Okay, wow, straight back into it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah. But last year, January, was very quiet for us. So, I mean, we say we're open, but it just
Quiet,
depends on
yeah.
what kind of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for all your information so far. That's been so good, so valuable. I'm sure everyone listening will get so much out of it. But in just finishing up, what advice would you give someone, like, three things maybe that have been a real game changer for you in building your business and starting it? Like, what would you recommend, or have you? I
To
know that's
start,
throwing you in the deep end a little bit. Sorry, I should have prepped you on that.
to start a property styling business.
Yeah, or just to start a
Yep.
business, like you mentioned before,
Um,
we were all in. Like, do you think
yeah.
that that's been part of your success? Like, what do you attribute your success to date?
I don't know, Kylie. I mean, a lot of things, a lot of things. It's really hard to kind of I always say we've been very lucky. We've been just very lucky with the connections that we've made. Our timing has been really lucky as well, to come out of COVID. And all our leads have been word of mouth. I don't know what it is that is making us, we're in a really good spot. Like 2 years open, and we've been extremely lucky. I can't pinpoint what it is, the formula, like you said,
Yeah, yeah.
of what
I
it
think
is.
from an
But
outsider looking in, it probably is definitely that whole relationship building, gratitude. Like for
yeah,
me, a lot of successful designers, stylists that I see are very grateful. Like they share their gratitude. So I can feel that with you, the relationships. But I also think that there's something in that jump, you've got to go all in. If you
mm,
decide to do this, like there's no, dip your toe in this and let's just half do it. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that the ones that I see succeed are the ones that go, okay, well, we've got some skin in the game here. It's not going to work. It has to work.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
maybe
guess, I
that was
guess,
your big thing,
yeah,
and timing, I know is, we've all got timing can be huge. And
yeah,
who would have known that COVID would have been so big for our industry as a whole?
yeah, yeah.
So many people spending money on furniture. And I know Globe West had their biggest ever
Mm,
season year turnover, um,
yeah.
which is,
And
huge.
And I think with property staging, it's definitely becoming more. people are more aware of it as well. Obviously, with with such a visual generation, everything has to be visually beautiful. It's helped our industry grow as well. Like, my in-laws are Vietnamese immigrants basically, and they probably 10 years ago, if you told them to spend a few thousand just staging their house for sale, they would be absolutely not. How, like, what's the point? And
Yeah,
now
what's wrong with my
they're,
house the way it
yeah,
is?
not only that, but they don't want to spend money just to sell a house.
No. Yeah, they want to
Um,
make money when they sell their house, not
yeah.
spend it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and
totally agree.
now they're all open about it. They're absolutely, yes, this is the way to go. We have
I
to
wonder
do
if
this.
TV has educated people as well, like the likes of the block, and we all complain about the block and the likes, but it really has
I
opened so
definitely think
many
so.
different avenues and open
Yeah.
eyes for people, I think.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
I think with those shows like The Block and MasterChef, we all become experts in our own home. And
Yes.
so, when we sell a house, we expect the same. We need that kind of look. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you don't want to go to market looking terrible, do you, anymore?
No,
Nobody
that's
does.
right.
I don't
Well,
think.
you've got that, when you're looking for a house, you're going scrolling down realestate.com, and how many houses pop up with one search. You've got to stand out basically.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to my vendors. Like, we need that photo that just, you know, ticks all the boxes and gets those people into the home. Like, that's
Yeah.
the number one priority, is that photo to get them into the house.
Yeah. To just see
Yeah.
it and then fall in love with it, that
Yeah.
emotional connection. Yeah.
Yep.
That's been amazing. Thank you so much, Stella, for sharing your wisdom today. I'm so pumped that your business is doing so well. It's absolutely fantastic to see. It's fantastic to watch along. Thank you for being in Interiors Insider also. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Kylie.
What's your Instagram handle if people would like to go and check you out?
Yep. So it's at BLKBRK home
Yep.
staging.
Yes, amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Stella. I'm just
Thank
going to
you.
pause this.